What's up, fight fans? Can you guys hear me out there loud and clear? Let me see. Yo, all right. Uh, well, we got a lot to break down here. This Jake Paul fight that I did not even stream on no platform, right? I we'll talk about it, but first, we're gonna be talking about the Jake Paul card, everything that occurred on the card, all the winners and losers last night, and anything you would like to talk about as well. So um, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And like always, let's hop right into this video. What's up, guys, man? Listen, what a night, what a night, what a night. So I started to come back to the house to watch the Jake Paul fight and everything, but I had stopped in the bar real quick and I had went um and maybe had one too many drinks in the bar because the last thing I remember, I was just staggering down the street and I called my wife. I was like, "Yo, come get me." And I ended up missing the fight, but I got to see some of them. I saw Holly Holm fight, and then I came back this morning and I saw the rest of the fights for myself. I watched them all individually. And what I took from last night's fight card, first of all, let's break down the fight. Oh, and by the way, right? I just want to let you guys know this. You guys know that at the beginning of the year, I always pick a topic or I pick a certain something that's going to happen in boxing. Since you guys been on my channel every year, I pick out something, right? To start the year. And this year, I said to you guys, I think Bomac is going to have one of the worst years as a coach. Did I not say that? Did I not tell you guys that? Out of all the coaches in boxing, the way I read the landscape, I said to myself, he's going to have a tough schedule. He's going to have either he was going to have a very great year or he was going to have a really bad year. And that's what I said at the beginning of this year. So, talking about such, on the Jake Paul card, on the undercard, uh Griffin fought, right? And he fought Rodriguez, right? And everything was going good. I thought Griffin was getting caught clean a little too much from, my liking in the beginning of the fight. I thought, you know, Rodriguez there was catching him like lovely. Griffin was fighting back. He was holding his own. He was, and then all of a sudden, man, one minute you're still in the fight, and one minute you're not. I guess, huh? He knocked the shit out of that dude, bro. Griffin got. I thought he was gonna get up. I thought he was gonna beat the count. It was over. It was over. Yeah, his night was done. Shit. And that wasn't even the most spectacular knockout. We all know it. I bet everybody's talking about it. Yo, Kid Austin, he really showed his ass. Now, that's, you see, listen, just not too long ago, we were accusing Kid Austin of being a duck and him and his dad with his antics and all the things that they've, tried to pull, right? And there was a lot of people not believing in Floyd Schofield. A lot of people were going all over social media. They were roasting him. Listen, and I got to admit, no fault to his own, what him and his dad be doing. You understand? I had a conversation with Floyd Schofield, and his father. And on the day of the interview, I heard that a lot of people took like what I had said to Schofield Sr. there, and they took it and ran with it and was like, said that I kind of disrespected him because when he was on the camera, I said, yeah, yeah, can I talk to your son? Right. And the thing is this, I was on an interview, I was on a platform, not my own, and they were interviewing him. So I had to, pick my questions and use my time wisely. And this was a situation where that the father thinks in his head he's on the same level as his son. No, you're not the boxer. You're the mouth behind everything. I get it. You guys are a team. And for some people might be turned off by the things he says, but that's all kind of like promotion and it gets clicks and views, doesn't it? So he's kind of like, doing his job, right? Whether you like it or not. But you're not the star. You're not the star. Don't act like you got to be in every interview and we all have to be wanting to interview you as well. I just kept it professional with my time in the moment. And if I was going to get a question off or get that little bit of window, to be able to talk, I want to talk to the fighter. Now, had we been on my platform and we were talking or as such, I would have just been like, all right, I would have kicked it with him and then talked to him. But I had never talked at that point, never talked to Kid Austin, and I wanted to talk to him myself. So, and then some people took it like, oh, you was disrespectful. What you mean? You see, that's where you guys get it twisted. His father ain't no superstar. His father, he ain't no athlete. He's not doing anything. He is no different to talk to him than it is to talk to my own brother or the dude across the street. Celebrities, stars, athletes, they're doing different things. People want to know. I'm going to talk about you. What are we going to talk about? So look, as far as Kid Austin, right? And the performance he put, the way he starched, and I mean starched Tevin Farmer. Did anybody see that coming in the first round? Anybody on planet Earth ever even cross their mind and think, yeah, you know what? Kid Austin's going to knock him out, Tevin Farmer, in the first round. After watching him with Cepeda twice, after watching him with Morataya, Raymond Morataya, there was no way I thought in a million years that Floyd, he was going to make it look that easy. He made it look easy, bro. He walked them right into that shot. And then he parried and just snapped it. Boop! Yo, kind of like Brian Norman Jr.'s. Brian Norman Jr.'s, of course, was a better knockout. That was a clean one-punch knockout. They had to go get the gurney, put homeboy on it, put the neck thing on him. His was just brutal, Brian Norman Jr. What Kid Austin's was shocking. It was surprising. That's what that was. That brought you out your seat and you were like, oh shit, like, whoa, what the hell was that? Like, and then, yo, I thought Tevin Farmer might be able to, he knows how to survive. I thought that maybe, just maybe, he might, get out of the round. Kid Austin was fighting like he had everything to prove, and he wanted to shut up the naysayers. He was fighting with so much rage, passion, and focus, channeled energy. He kept it all together. until after the victory you started seeing come out on the world stage. You could see all his emotions, all his hard work, all the days I told you so. I'm him. I'm him. I'm better than these guys. And it really solidifies for me anyway that he proved himself to be on at least that tier of fighters and that level. And this would this award him a potential rematch or another opportunity, I should say, right, against Shakur Stevenson. If Shakur Stevenson is successful and defends his title against William Cepeda in July 12th in New York City. So I ask you, the fighting fans, would you like to see a rescheduling of Floyd Schofield versus um, Shakur Stevenson? I mean, after the Tank fight finishes with Lamont Roach, who he's gonna fight? Tank Davis. He might fight the guy at the this guy I saw. He looked pretty tough at Home Depot. He worked there. He was the cashier. Maybe he could sign up to fight Tank. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because he's just fighting nobodies. Like Tank ain't, not he fighting somebody right now in Lamont Roach because Lamont Roach is a somebody. But all these other nobody dudes and shit, there's one or two somebodies on his resume and just a bunch of who the fuck is this? Who's this? Tank's record is crazy, bro. It's crazy. And I value him at a high regard as a skilled fighter, but he's just not showing it against world class opposition. He's just not showing it. So I'm like, man, listen. Then this shouts out to Holly Holmes for doing her thing too. Holly Holmes did her thing. Um uh Ramirez, right? Just like I put in the title too, right? With Zurdo, right? Zurdo won last night, and I think the reason why he won last night too, he started moving better in the later rounds. He started utilizing his feet, and he started really giving um the Cuban guy there a lot of trouble. And I felt like he looked good. He looked good, you know. I'm not sure if Jake Paul wants to fucking try to jump that far up. And these fights that these people are kicking around, whether Deontay Wilder or Zurdo, which one would you like to see him fight? And I don't think that Jake Paul will sign up for neither of them. I think he'll clout chase the and he'll have the fans curious. He'll put out these kinds of names, but I with that performance last night, um, I don't think he's ready for any of those guys. He started gassing out in the later rounds. Chavez, that was if that was a 12-round fight, championship round fight, I think Chavez beats him. You know, Chavez just didn't do enough work in 4, 5, and 6 rounds, 4, 5, and 6 around there. He wasn't. He wasn't. He didn't prepare to close. He needed to steal one or two of those rounds because he closed strong. He closed strong. So I don't think Jake Paul is really ready for any of these guys. Are you guys crazy? You really think that Jake Paul can beat up on Deontay Wilder like that? I don't know about that one. I mean, I see Deontay Wilder fight King Kong. And he was a big heavyweight, and he cracked Deontay Wilder too. He had a way better style than fucking Jake Paul did. I'll tell you that much. I seen Deontay Wilder fight some formidable, you know, tough dudes. Not the greatest of the greatest competition, but who was there during those times? There weren't a lot. Like, I mean, AJ was around then. Tyson Fury was come on the come up. The Klitschko's was still, but he never got to fight any of those dudes and shit. But Jake Paul ain't no Klitschko, and he ain't no fucking King Kong, bro. That Cuban dude, man, he's not that. He's not that. He although he Jake Paul looked pretty good, I got to admit, he looked, you know, like he's been practicing on his punches and his delivery, the way he sets up his punches, his footwork, his angles, and things like that. I mean, Jake Paul has come a long way from where he started. No amateur boxing experience. I gotta give it to him. I gotta give it to him. I mean, he took an amateur career in the pros. It's basically what Jake Paul just did. He basically ran through his amateur career while being a professional boxer. And now he wants to step it up in competition to really legitimately try to get a shot at a world title. Jake Paul's stomach area concerns me. A good place, strong body puncher, and Billy will uh I don't know, man. I just don't think that he's ready for those kind of guys like Zurdo. I don't think he's ready for him. I'm not sure. Although Jake Paul has been making leaps and bounds, these guys in the boxing ring, they toy with guys like Jake Paul in sparring. Just like right on Jake Paul's level. That's what they use for sparring. Those kind of fighters. That style, that same shit. I just don't see that. I don't think he's ready to make that kind of commitment and that kind of jump. You know what I mean? And he's not even fighting in the same weight division all the time. So I don't even know where the hell. Where did he weigh in last night, by the way? Jake Paul. And I'm just like, wow. But a interesting card though. Interesting card. It was shocking to see who won today. It was shocking to see it because I didn't think that the card itself was gonna be, play out that great. And it did. It had a lot of excitement, you know. Um, so I felt like, a star was born once again in Floyd Schofield. Now he's hot. Now he's hot. Now, who would you like Schofield to fight next? And where does he go from here? You know, um, that's pretty much what that's pretty much going to be the question now. We got to kind of wait to see what Shakur does and Tank Davis does, because obviously they already got fights lined up. So, I'm not sure if it's gonna, if it's gonna work out like this or what. But mm-mm-mm. Yo, I think I might have did something in these setting things here because now my videos, it seems like, hold up, hold up a second. Let me hear this. Oh yeah, good. So I gotta go change back some of these settings, bro. I do. So I did something wrong, man. I took off some shit. I gotta go check it out, man. Cause it's not like pushing out my video like it did. I don't know, or it's not sending out the notifications. I turned something off. I forgot what it was. I gotta go back and look at it, but I'll fix it. It don't matter. You guys will catch up to me. Um, but this was a great start. I can't wait for July. Actually, I can't wait for July. I gotta go to this New York card. I just gotta get there, man. I gotta get there. I gotta figure out what am I gonna do. You know, um, and I just gotta get out to New York, man, to see this fucking card, bro. Cause I tell you, I don't think this is. It's just too close for me, and it's just a big event, and I want to be there. Unfortunately, my last time that I went out to see Subir Matias, I saw him lose in Puerto Rico, and I don't want it to end like that. Nah, I want to see him win this belt. I hope he doesn't lose again, man. But shit happens. You always got to take the bad with the good. But let's just stay positive. Let's just stay positive. Um, he's gonna pull it off. He's gonna pull it off. He's gonna win this belt, and he's gonna bring it back to us. In fact, um, I've never witnessed a Puerto Rican winning a belt live yet. Yet I've seen many of them fight, yeah, but never for a belt. And then I saw Felix Trinidad fight live, but he lost to Hopkins. So uh I was like, shit. So I haven't seen that yet. So that's something that I want to see, And then the other thing that I want to see for Puerto Rico, before I die, is I want to see a Puerto Rican fighter, and if he's island born or New York born or anywhere out here born, I'll take it. I'll take it any way I can get it. I just want to see the first undisputed Puerto Rican world champion with all four belts and that ringside magazine too. We want that too, So uh that's what I want to see. Yeah. So that's why I gotta go to this New York card because Puerto Rico got a lot of a few belts on the line. Shakur got to defend his. He's Puerto Rican, and so Bria got an opportunity to win that. And then Amanda Serrano, hopefully she packs up Katie Taylor the day before and maybe show up to the fights in New York with all her belts or something. You know what I'm saying? So we have a lot of fights. Oh yeah, there was another my boy Frontline was telling me about a Dominican fighter, a Puerto Rican fighter, and a Dominican fighter. We're starting off our little rich rivalry here, and I gotta catch up to all of that. I gotta catch up to everything. You know, um, Last night, man. Oh, I gotta tell you, yo, I was twisted something fierce. Yo, I haven't, I can't remember, not never, not never. I don't think I've ever been like that lit with alcohol like that. Like I can't remember ever being a time like that. Yo, I was truly lit, bro. And the thing is, I only had like 2 drinks. I'm a lightweight. I don't drink like that. Like I had 2 of them drinks, but it was them Long Island iced tea drinks. And it was like different kind of like vodkas and stuff. Yo, that shit took me out. Yo, I was in the back, twisted, just mm-mm-mm. I was noticing what I had for dinner. I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, I ate that." Yo, I was rocked. Wilder? You would want Jake Paul to fight Deontay Wilder? You guys want to get Jake Paul killed, huh? You guys want to see him die? If he dies, he dies. Yo, he looks good against these kind of guys. But little Chavez Jr. there is not Deontay Wilder by the level of dangerousness. Deontay Wilder doesn't have Julio Cesar Chavez skills. No, he don't got. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is way skilled more boxer than Deontay Wilder, and he could set things up a little bit better than Deontay Wilder, and if it went for skill, yeah, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is the more skilled, right? But dangerous? How dangerous Deontay Wilder is? Listen, that entire fight he just had the other night, the entire fight, everybody in the audience was just like this. They was just like, just waiting for him to catch him clean. He caught him a few times, but he never really caught him clean, clean. You know, Dante didn't catch him clean like that. No. Um, and the way what Dante Wilder was doing different in his fight, right? What I felt he was doing different is he was sitting down on his shots, and he took away some power from his shot, and he was more active. He was more active in his fight, Dante Wilder. He was using the jab, he was putting something behind it. He has this little cheeky left check hook now. He got a little uppercut in there. He did go downstairs to the body once or twice. So when Dante Wilder was knocking everybody out, if you what he was doing, he gets that running start. He steps big and throws all his weight and his momentum right at the person. Boom. When Dante Wilder steps and boom, or like he just bombs you, like he's done that the majority of his career, right? So he didn't do that this fight. He didn't have his little running start and all his body weight and his torque behind his shot. What he was doing was he was throwing more from the shoulder, like this, boom, boom, boom. So it might have took away a little bit of power, but there was times he was swinging bigs, but and then Dante Wilder got crazy. You saw how when homeboy started going low, and what the hell was this? He was like clubbing him, you know. So he does need a lot of work. He has to stay controlled, but it's a good starting point for Dante Wilder because what I did notice was he stuck to the game plan. He didn't shy away from the game plan that they taught him. You know, he was active every round. There's fights where Dante Wilder is just going like this with his glove, just circling, circling, circling. And the guy's just standing in front of him trying to avoid that right. And he just keeps, you know, so he was a lot more active. I think Dante Wilder with another fight, it'll be a good fight with Jake Paul. I just don't see Jake Paul winning that fight. You know, this now this cloak of invincibility on Dante Wilder and the game plan to beat him. If you could just nullify that power for enough and then tire him out a little, weigh on him, and take him out. Uh, I'm not sure if that's going to work for everybody. The guys that beat him were pretty big men, like really big dudes, you know. And Parker was probably the more skilled of them, right? And there's no way you can convince me that Jake Paul has a better, you know, punch or uh the way to get to Dante Wilder, that he's better than any of those guys that beat Dante Wilder, Jake Paul. There's no way that Jake Paul is better than Zhang or Parker. So what makes you think that he's just gonna whoop Dante Wilder's ass? I don't think so. You see Dante Wilder with that lesser skills, but you gotta ask yourself one question. You gotta ask yourself just one question, right? Then how the fuck did he become world champion? For 5 years and 10 title defenses. Dante Wilder. Although his name is the list that of men that he fought, it's not he don't got no real crazy names on his record, but I could guarantee you that half those guys would whoop Jake Paul's ass. Hell yeah. Half of the guys on Deontay Wilder's list. The other half, Jake Paul might get him. Just might get him. Um, I'll split it 50-50 right off the top of my head. So I'm not convinced on the fact that Jake Paul is ready for the likes of Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Deontay Wilder's gonna put that dude to sleep. Yeah, he is. He's basically gonna bomb squad him. I mean, Jake Paul could crack in his own right. You know, he could punch, but uh I don't think he's gonna catch up to Deontay Wilder's 6'6", 6'7" frame. 6'7". Yeah, nah, nah. The reason why those other dudes beat him because they were big men too and skilled and skilled. You gotta ask yourself that question, man. How the hell did Deontay Wilder do that for that long? Then Deontay Wilder came into fighting, right? He came into boxing in his 20s. No amateur experience, just learning on the job to get a paycheck to help support his daughter. And I I was like, d- a lot of people are real critical to Dante Wilder, but you got to remember who he is. He ain't never had no extension. He just learning how to fight. Just hit hard as hell, and so I give him credit for what he was able to accomplish off what, the skills that he has. It's not like he's a freaking gold medalist in the Olympics and was the greatest amateur boxer in the country, the top amateur that was going to go pro or something, and he had all these amateur fights. No, this guy started boxing late, and he was able to accomplish fairly a lot. You know, um, I'm not going to write him off. I don't think Dante Wilder can beat the top heavyweights right now. Maybe not, but if Usyk pulls that off, just like I said on the Boxing Voice, if Usyk pulls that off and then announces retirement and those belts vacate, I can see Dante Wilder fighting for one of the vacant belts against somebody. Shit, perhaps it could be against Jake Paul. He wants to go on a title fight, and during the time we're about to get that Usyk and Dubois fight, right? Uh, when's that scheduled for? The Usyk and Dubois. Let's see here. I think it's right after Music Dubois. It's for July 19th. July 19th. Shit, that's right there. July 12th. July 11th, Amanda's fight with all the girls. It's girls' night out. And then July 12th is the New York card. And July 19th is the heavyweight showdown for unification for all four belts once again, for undisputed status. Martinez, he's fighting. Uh, I think actually, oh, these are on the same date. They're on the same date, July 12th. Both those cards. What? And that's on Pro Box. And the other Zapeta is also fighting on that card. Hernandez. Yep. Who do we have next? We got some. They got a the zone card coming up. You know what I'm saying? Catterall and Eubank. I thought that was they were talking about the other Eubank for a second there, and it's this one. Um, yeah, I don't, I mean, it's a decent card. July 2nd, we got another card. Yup. Shouts out to freaking Holly Holm, man. The preacher's daughter. Wow. Yo, and my man, and for all you little, just in case we have any UFC guys stopping by or anything, and just guys that watch both sports, uh, that little Spaniard dude, Starch Oliveira, bro. Phew. He starched them, bro. Yo, them other ones was just he was already out. Them Hammer Fist, my man was out. But what's shout out to the Spaniard. You know what I'm saying? My people. You know what I mean? you know, uh it was a good that was a pretty decent card in itself, but I didn't watch the UFC card. I only watched the main event. I caught that this morning. That was it. That's all I watched on it. But I know those guys on there. I used to watch it, but I gave up watching it just to do boxing full time. So I don't really pay attention to the UFC like that, like I used to. But I'm very familiar with all the fighters, and I'm very familiar uh uh with everything in, all like the jujitsu, the Muay Thai, Greek grapple wrestling. I'm familiar with all that shit. So, but boxing is just a better sport. It's a more pure sport. Just mano a mano, me and you. Let's go. Don't kick me. Don't try to drag me and gouge my eyes out. Let's me and you stand toe to toe right here in this square circle, and let's see who the best is. So boxing, and plus I've always boxed, and it's been a part of my family and stuff, like, for a long time. So it's an easy choice for me because I already love boxing. But in order to do this here, I can't be remembering all the names in the UFC, and I gotta get good at this first. I'm gonna lock down boxing first, and that's what I said to myself 5 years ago when I started this. So it's it's um it's 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 definitely been a journey, you know, watching all these fights and covering the sport and talking to these fighters. Fighters always take things personal, so I don't like to always take a side, but I will pick. And I think right now, boxing is, after these fights conclude, hopefully boxing is headed in a better direction. Because now we're back to that point in the year in boxing where some of the top guys have already fought and gotten out of the way. So now what we're looking for are rematches, or we're looking for the next best thing, which is usually typically a unification, undisputed status fight, so that's what we look for next. You see what I'm saying? And when I said that in my video at the beginning of the year, when I said that my prediction for this year was that Bomac was going to have a really bad year, things can still go really bad for him. Like if Terrence Crawford loses, too, on top of all the other fighters that I thought he was going to lose. And I had a feeling. I had a feeling Bomac was going to have a tough year with all those guys like that. Yeah. And then the Keyshawn Davis situation, Bomac's getting hit left and right. And I knew it. I knew it at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of every year, I make a prediction in the sport. And I was like, He could either have a really great one or or he's gonna have a bad one, and it's looking that way. But you know, whenever you see that things are going bad, and you might, I- and I might think that he's gonna have a really bad year, and he's suffered a lot of losses, embarrassing moments throughout the year so far, and all that can be wiped away, really, if Terrence Crawford pulls this off. He can have just one big win. I'll take that one. If I was Bomac, that's the win I'd want. If I had to lose as many fights as I lost, or title fights and things like that of that nature, that the one fight I would want to win would be against Saul Canelo Alvarez. What's up with the 5 piece? My man, thank you for the donation. Ha ha. How you doing out there? Love the channel, bro. Thank you. Salute. Thank you. And I I I really think that that would be the one that I would want to win. You know what I mean? And shit, F the rest. You know what I mean? Because that's his ace. That's that's everything. Terrence Crawford's career will always be intertwined with Bomac as a coach. Terrence Crawford can pull off the biggest upset, I believe, in fucking ever in boxing. Who the hell jumps up two weight divisions to fight the undisputed champion? Tell me when the hell does that happen in history and that he was successful. I'm not talking about Charlo just making an attempt. No, that's not good enough. You need the win. Am I right? So if he can retire undefeated, 3-time undisputed champion in 3 separate weight divisions, what does that speak to his coach, Bomac? It's kind of like Tom Brady and Belichick. You feel me? And it will affect the Bomac's boxing record as a career, because he's gonna go on after Terrence Crawford. He's gonna go on to coach other fighters. Maybe Terrence Crawford might be a coach or help out or something. He's been doing a lot of work out there in Africa, like building like places for boxing and stuff. And Terrence Crawford does a lot of stuff. So I would love for Terrence Crawford to coach, like, maybe like some of the Davis brothers as well and other fighters, and give back and keep showing Shakur, and you know, and because I think Terrence Crawford, he may or may not choose to, because not all boxers opt in. Like Floyd was so amazing, but Floyd would only hop in the gym here and there. He always liked living his lavish lifestyle. He can't really, you know what I'm saying? So not all boxers become coaches or announcers or things like that. Some just ride away into the sunset and live out their life with their wealth that they were able to acquire. And that's respect. That's respectfully. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. But if Terrence did retire like that and became a coach himself, or did other things, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. But yeah, man, that's the next fight for Bomac for me. He can't lose this fight, man. Nah. Plus, Terrence got to do it for us. He's got to do it for us. If anybody, I told you guys this. There's a certain thing that you can't. I have no measuring stick for. It's a man's will. How far is he willing to go to get the win? I, there's no measuring stick for that. I, I know about Terrence Crawford. I know he was a wrestler, and the high schools and stuff, and he's got awards and he's won medals in wrestling. He can play basketball. I've seen him on videos. He's a multiple sports athlete, Terrence Crawford. And if anybody can pull some shit like this off, it's him. When you look back into the archives of boxing and you ask yourself, who's ever done something like this? Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvelous Hagler, right? So, well, Sugar Ray Leonard came back with that fight. That a better depiction of that would be when Manny Pacquiao took 5 years off and Sugar took 5 years off and then fought that kind of champion with Marvelous Hagler, the marvelous one, right? So that would be better to use that scenario with Manny Pacquiao like that. But Floyd did it too. So, like, Floyd wasn't supposed to beat young ass Saul. Saul had 33 fights during that time. He was 23 years old. Floyd was 36 years old. And Floyd was supposed to lose that fight to the hot, promising Mexican star. Then they try to say his lack of inexperience. What do you mean? He was already a world champion. He already had 33 professional fights. How much more experience do you want? How much more experience do you think you needed to give him? No, he wasn't going to beat Floyd then, and he won't going to beat him when he got to the best. He just was never going to beat Floyd. That's just it. You know, the only way he could have beat Floyd if he dragged him up to like 168. Floyd would never make 168. I'm not sure if he ever weighed 168 in his life, right? But uh Canelo can't Floyd, he can't beat Floyd neither then. In either era, he wouldn't beat Floyd. Floyd was just that dude. And when I think of situations or moments in boxing where one guy wasn't to defy all odds and shit and do some shit like this, right? Look, I know it's different, but Usyk went from cruiserweight to heavyweight. Usyk, right? And he's fighting guys 50, 40 pounds heavier, right? So my question is, can a human being go from a lower weight and fight guys that are so much heavier than them? And the way Usyk's doing it, he's the littler guy, he's faster. Could this be a case where Terrence Crawford needed that year to train to acclimate his body correctly, so that he doesn't gas out in the later rounds and he comes into this fight and what Saul is not ready for would be Terrence Crawford's speed. Because even at that level, you know, these guys are fast at 168 and shit like that. Yeah, they're kind of fast, but every division as you go down, the guys get faster. Just like when Evander Holyfield came up from the cruiserweight and went up to the heavyweights, he wasn't really a heavyweight, Evander Holyfield, but he beat the shit out of these guys. He was always the lighter one out of the two heavyweights that were fighting. I can guarantee you, Evander was lighter than all his fights, probably. I should look that up. But um, what surprised the heavyweights is how fast he was. Evander was a specimen, though, of a man. He was just an Adonis. Like, he's just ripped. Like, you don't want to see bald-headed Evander Holyfield in a fucking dark alley. Nah, I'm good. I'll go the other way. Is your alley? I'm in the wrong fucking alley. What the fuck? I'm gonna go this. Man, listen. That dude was Evander Holyfield was a beast. And could this be that kind of fucking moment where that Terrence Crawford um just shocks the world. Like, there's days I really think that he's outgunned. I'm just like, he's outgunned. And then you hear the stories about Saul, right? And you see, what's his name there? Virgil Ortiz. You see Virgil Ortiz tell the story about Canelo when they were sparring, and Virgil Ortiz said, I'm sparring Canelo, man. I want to show him that, you know, I'm on this level, and they gave us the green light to, to punch hard. So Virgil says, bro, I cracked Canelo with my best punch. I was gonna show him that, you know what I mean? I don't get hit with this, right? He said, boom! Canelo went, eso. He said he didn't even do this. He said he went, and then he looked at him and he went, eso, eh. And Virgil Ortiz said he felt this small. He felt like a kid. He just hit Canelo Alvarez with his best shot, and he was like, let's go. Yeah, he didn't even move him. He didn't even move him with his best shot. And you hear those stories about Saul. You see the results. Triple G. How long was Triple G champion for? How long? Like 9 years or some shit, right? Triple G? Uh, I think Triple G had 23 consecutive knockouts in a row. He was probably one of the hardest hitting dudes. Back then, Triple G, he didn't move Saul like that. Like Demetrius Bivol was hitting Saul and he was peppering, but Saul was too slow. He was too heavy. He couldn't move. And he just couldn't get out of the way of the punches. But he took all fucking Demetrius Bivol's shots at 175. And I'm like, fuck, bro. Like, how the hell is Terrence gonna do this? He's just gonna have to stick and move, stick and move, stick and move. I mean, he can't get what Saul might try to do. If he sees Terrence Crawford's a little bit too fast and he's hitting him, Saul's gonna stay there. He's gonna go like that, and he's gonna give Terrence Crawford false confidence. And he's gonna wait until his foot gets to the right mark, where that he knows if I lunge out from here, the probability of me hitting you is real high. So Saul's gonna fake it like down to the low and then upstairs, and he might just sleep Terrence. I don't see how Terrence Crawford can get this power to knock out Saul when he's been cracked by some of the biggest punchers in the game. And it just didn't work. And I gotta remember that Terrence Crawford started his career at 135. He's a 135 pounder. Saul's been playing in these divisions like a fucking shark, just running up and down, kicking everybody's asses. He's dangerous, bro. And then you got this dude that might be lightning in a bottle, Terrence Crawford, might be great, awesome, and has achieved a lot. It just sometimes seems so doubtful. Then, like, you start to pick apart the man that is Terrence Crawford, and I'm starting to think that he might have just got the right amount of time and enough preparation to study Saul Canelo Alvarez. And I had to admit that if I said anybody can do this, if anybody can pull this off, and it's not like Saul hasn't been beaten. Okay, he's lost more than once, right? That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about taking Canelo Alvarez's O away, because that shit is gone. You can thank Money Mayweather for that. He took that shit with him. It's up on his wall with the rest of the fucking head trophy, fucking, like a deer when they cut the head off. He's got like that, all the scalps in his fucking in his office. That's where that O is. So this is not that. This is not that kind of fight. This is a real David versus Goliath type fight. That's what we have ourselves right there. That's what we have. The deck is stacked against Terrence, bro. We all know this, right? Can we agree to that? No human in the world, no fucking boxer has ever done some shit like this. Now, probably in history, there's been a guy that jumped up two weight divisions, fought somebody, and won. I'm not saying that can't happen. It's probably happened. But when in boxing history do you get an undefeated champion, two division world champion, undisputed two division world champion, four division world champion? He has four divisions, Terrence Crawford, right? Okay. He's going to be going up to fight the undisputed champion that he also has currently all four belts. When in boxing did a man jump up undefeated to fight a guy for undisputed status, two weight divisions above his division? When in history has that ever happened? You gotta, if you're gonna use a scenario, you gotta bring me a guy that has four belts. It just, this type of shit doesn't happen. Then when you watch the way the Charlo twin failed miserably, like bad against Saul, he looked real bad, right? And it didn't work for him. What makes me think this? But like I said, once again, once you start breaking down the man that's Terrence Crawford and his desire and his will to win this fight, and I'm saying it, I won't be surprised if he can pull this off. If he loses, yo, good try, good effort. You gave it your all. And now Saul got his O on his wall because Terrence Crawford's O, that shit is valuable. That O that Terrence Crawford has is not like a guy with a 10 and O record or a guy 22 and O, but no, he's not a world champion or something. You know what I mean? Terrence Crawford is a multiple division, world decorated, undisputed in two weight categories. That's what kind of O that is. His O is very valuable. Very. You will not end your career undefeated if Saul wins this fight. He's going to take that away from you. That O that he has, that shit carries weight. And that's why Saul was like, all right, I'll fight you. Because they had an opportunity to take one of our great American legends away, away. And Mexico tried. Boy, did they try. They failed. They couldn't beat him. They couldn't beat Floyd. And they failed. Now they're at it again. Mexico, US, boxing rivalry, rich rivalry. Fucking love it. Fucking love it, bro. The drama, everything that builds all the way up into these fights, and everything that is at stake. There's a lot of legacy in that fight with Terrence Crawford and Saul Canelo Alvarez. A lot of legacy. Not only does Terrence Crawford, if he was to win, he'll be a 5-division world champion and 3 with all 4 belts. So he's really going to rock it. Mr. Miyagi, what's up? Oh, snap. I haven't been watching the chats. Listen, Schofield, Mr. Miyagi with the $10 super chat said Edwin Schofield, big increase in his stock after that. Shocking, stunning. I was left like that just did not happen. He did not just catch Tevin Farmer that fought a recent world champ that became newly acquired and Raymond Morataya. He just became world champion. So that shows you, and Zepeda's fighting for a belt, right? And he dropped Cepeda in the fight. How gritty, how tough did you think this fight was gonna be for young Schofield? How tough? How tough did you think this fight was gonna be, honestly? And like I said in the beginning of my video, I I don't know nobody in Vegas that was like, yeah, you know what? Schofield's gonna knock out Farmer in the first round. Yeah, give me 100 on that. Shit. No, no. I would like to see that ticket. And who did that? Right? Because that was what I watch boxing for. That Floyd Schofield, that Brian Norman Jr. action that's been going on lately. Yeah, sign me up. Yo, that shit. I'm sitting here watching it. I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah, like I'm upset that I didn't get to watch it live or whatever, but I'm like, cool. Until I woke up, I didn't watch anything. So I basically did get to watch it live, just at my own time. Let's just say I live in a different time zone. That's all, right? So I still got the same reaction. It's not like I heard all the news, then went and watched the fights because you'd kill it for yourself. So I individually looked up the fights, saw that like that, right? And when I was watching it, I'm sitting here, I'm going like this. I'm like, all right, Schofield, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Oh shit, Tevin, get up, Tevin, get up, yo! I was like, oh shit. I did think he was gonna survive, Tevin. But and then when he was hurt bad. Once the camera zoomed in on his face, that's when I was like, maybe not. And then I thought the referee was gonna stop it, right? But the referee gave him, he gave him a Warriors go out on your shield. He gave him that respect to Tevin Farmer. And the match went on, and Shakur, I'm sorry, Floyd Schofield was driven. He was determined to stamp his name on that night in boxing. You could see the emotions just coming out of him at the end of the fight. All your hard work, everything, it all paid off. Everybody that was, yeah, I told you so. You know what I mean? It was just incredible. It was an incredible thing to watch. Let me catch up to you guys' messages. What's up, guys? Yo, salute to everybody in the chat. What's up, Rob? How you doing? Whiskey, what's up? Whiskey head. Jesus Christ, all these words just look like bunched in like this. I promise you guys, I'm gonna get my glasses eventually. Jeffrey, what's up? I thought he would win too. Schofield. Um, in the fight, I didn't. I wasn't. I'm not too thing on Tevin Farmer, right? He's great fighter and everything. But the 22-year-old, he had the youth on his side. Um, a lot of questions coming into this fight because of the Shakur Stevenson debacle, you know. So I did have my doubts, and I was wondering if Floyd Schofield was doubting himself. You know what I mean? And being the fact that Floyd Schofield and Tevin Farmer are actually friends, and they've been a lot of places together. So, I don't know. I don't know. I had mixed reviews, but I thought he was gonna win the fight, Schofield. I said, well, you know, I think he might win it. You know, the way he starched them though, no, I would have never guessed that. Never guessed it. There was a possibility he could have stopped them late, then it wouldn't have been so shocking. He stopped them late, kind of like what how Griffin got stopped late. It was there was a process. There was an entire fight that kicked off, and then he got stopped late. By a big punch, a big punch. So I thought it was going to be something like that. I didn't think that uh Floyd was gonna starch him like that. Now that was a statement fight. See, because now that brings you back into the good graces with the fans, and it also has the fans sharing, retweeting, talking about your fight. You know how many people have clicked in to watch that short with him getting knocked out like that? You know what I mean? And how much buzz that and it was just it looked dominant. The performance in itself looked dominant. His composure, everything. And could this put you back in line perhaps for another potential matchup with Shakur? Tank Davis could take a fight like this. You know, I don't know what Tank's gonna do anymore. I'm gonna stop trying to guess. I have no idea what that man is doing. So I do any of you guys know what he's doing? Because I'm lost. All right. So you know, his name is still there, Tanks. So he is a champion. We got to take him into consideration, under that regards. Um, but yeah, yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. Um, I'm not sure. I'm thinking of possible fights here in my head, right? One fight, Raymond Morataya. I don't think. Would he give him a shot at the title? What is he ranked? Hold up. Hold up. All right, let me look up some rankings here. So potential matchups. All right. Is he ranked in his sanctioning body right now? Nah, Floyd Schofield is Javante Davis's. He's number 2, right? Yeah. And I don't see him. Let me see the top 15 then. Let me look up the top 15. So Floyd Schofield ain't ranked in no other sanctioning body. Oh, no, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's number 8 for Raymond Morataya. He's number 8. Would that performance jump up and catapult him to the front of the line? Or could you put him in with Andy Cruz? You could put Floyd Schofield against Andy Cruz. Hierarchy, Sam Notes, Lucas Body. They're all in front of him. Lucas Body, I mean, you could put him in with him, I guess. Hey, let me check y'all messages. Why the fuck am I missing this today? What's up? He stops Brian Norman Jr. cool ass guy, and Zepeda Ramirez destroys Jai. Really? Like what? He's a masterclass boxer. Kid Austin stops. What? Kid Austin stops Shakur and drops Tank. Huh? Drop the link, Edwin. I'm dropping it. Hold on here. We gotta talk about this, guys. What? Come up here. Let's kick it. All right, I copied the link. Why isn't it copying it? All right. Okay, got it. Bingo. Dropping the link. You guys want to come up, share your opinion on these fights? Tell me what you think about who these guys should fight and why. You know, let's uh let's talk boxing. Gabriel Flores Jr. He's way down there, man. He's like 15. Esau Pitbull Cruz still got a little buzz. He's got a little name, right? If you people have respect for boxing, you need to stop. We'll get you glasses. Eventually. Where's Mr. Miyagi at? I'm waiting for him to join the live stream. Yo, also, you got Nick Ball right fighting Sam Goodman there. So here we go, Mr. Miyagi. How you doing? How you doing, Mr. Miyagi? Welcome to the show. You there?
Hello, hello. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
there we go. Yes.
Right. Yeah, man. Kid Austin. I was pleasantly surprised with that performance.
Oh
Do
yeah.
you know? Do you know what that reminded me of?
What?
That literally reminded me of the Inoue versus Jamie McDonald fight,
Mm.
because Jamie McDonald always went the distance with all the tough fighters.
Yep.
I forget the name of the Kameda that just fought Angelo Leo, because Jamie McDonald beat him for his world title,
Okay.
and it's the same situation. No one would have thought that he would have got blown out in a single round. And the same thing with Tevin Farmer, even though
Right.
he's not your classic elite world, like, world champion
Hmm.
or anything. No one does that to him ever. He's never
Right.
been stopped, has he, Farmer?
No, no.
Mm.
Zapata dropped him, but he didn't stop him. So, and the loss to Raymond Moratallo was also controversial. So, like we saw him perform. You know, he was coming off several losses back to back. I think it was three, right?
Yeah.
And and yeah, but we didn't view him like that because of the fact that we saw the potential and the type of fights that he was in. Nobody was just gonna walk in and steamroll Tevin Farmer. At least that's what we all thought, you know. And when you saw it, what'd you think? What'd you think, right? Like watching
I
it live.
When I saw that, I didn't really know to me, when I was watching it and it happened, it looked like almost like Floyd just had that young man energy, and he just flurried and caught Farmer. But then when you actually saw the replay of the first knockdown, as Tevin Farmer tried turning round to Floyd's left,
Right.
he looped his
Pivot.
right hand. It was, yeah,
Yep.
he kind, but he didn't. Kid Austin didn't really move too much. He kind of took a tiny half step just to twist his body a bit,
And
and he kind
straight,
of looped the right straight on Tevin Farmer's chin,
right,
and like backed out at the same. So essentially, he was moving backwards
right.
ever so slightly, and he looped the right straight round and caught
Hmm.
Tevin Farmer right as Farmer was trying to throw a jab and pivot round to Floyd's left. And when I saw
Hmm.
the replays on it, I was really surprised about the way
His
that
his
he
technique.
threw the shots. Yeah, how he was throwing the shots.
Yeah. No, he found the opening and pulled the trigger, and it wasn't like a fluke punch. He studied Tevin Farmer, man, is what he
Yeah,
did.
because he
And
just
and
before he dropped. Go ahead, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, and Tevin
Just before,
Farmer, when he was moving, he felt safe in that moment. He in a lot of his fights, there was a window of opportunity there. Nobody really um got him on that. And for Floyd Schofield to put him in that situation right there and to see the opening and boom, I was impressed. I was impressed because of all the controversy that he's coming off of that Shakur thing, being hospitalized. They poisoned me out there. They took our passports. He's coming off a lot of bullshit, bro. And I thought that, I don't know how all athletes are gonna react to these things. Sometimes this could be in their head. You know, you saw the emotion coming out of them after the window, man. It was pretty impressive. So, look, so far, two big stoppages by the Americans, Brian Norman Jr. and Floyd Schofield. I'm glad they're doing something right now for us. And shouts out to Dula Mason too. Dula Mason, he did his little thing there, and he's gonna be getting his opportunity, a crack at that WBO. So, we lost one with freaking Keyshawn Davis, so we lost the belt. Uh, so we're looking to try to get up there and compete with most of these guys for these countries for these belts, man. I want to bring them home. What's up, boxing outcome? What's up? Oh man, I did a lot of yard work today. What's up, my man? You there? Yo, I guess he's gonna have to work his mic or whatever. But yeah, what else did you what other fight did you like, Mr. Miyagi?
What's up?
um,
What's up?
I,
Can you hear
What
me?
up?
I gotta
Yeah, I can hear you
change
yeah,
the
now.
audio. Give me a second, 'cause I was listening to you on the
Okay,
phone.
Mr.
Can you
Miyagi,
hear me?
yeah.
Perfect. What's going on, yo? Yeah, man. A lot of people want to see that fight between Shakur Stevenson and Schofield. That's gonna be a good fight.
A rescheduling of the fight. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
sure. I'm not sure if Shakur Stevenson will be up to it again.
I know.
Because see,
He's talking greasy on Twitter yesterday.
is he? Was he after the knockout?
Before and then after the knockout, not so much, but after the
Okay,
knockout he was just more like saying like, oh, Tevin Farmer should have did this, we can't be letting them young people come up like that, and this and that, whatever. But before that, he be deleting tweets,
yeah,
that's his game,
yeah, 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 yeah.
you know.
Sometimes I'll entertain it. I'll go over there and I'll catch some of their comments back and forth and shit like that. But for the most part, I just pay attention to the boxing and everything. Let me ask you guys too. Besides the knockout, that knockout with Floyd Schofield and Terrence Farmer, what other fights did you guys like on that card? And what fights for you guys was, and did the Jake, we'll get into it, did the Jake Paul fight live up to your expectations? First boxing outcome, I want to ask you, what other fight did you like on that card?
Rodriguez was a good fight.
Yeah.
He got the knockout, at the 10th round.
Yeah, but
He went in there with a game plan.
yeah,
'Cause the first couple rounds they were just filling each other out. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Adapting to each other. But yeah, he went in there with a game plan, and at the the last two rounds they were both going for a knockout. It looked like, like they
Yeah.
really wanted to get each other out of there. But he got the best punches landing on Griffin. The other fight was damn, I just went blank. It
Which
was
one?
another Rodriguez, wasn't it? The other Rodriguez. No,
No, no, no. Yeah, there was another Rodriguez on
he
the card.
lost though. He lost to
Yeah,
the
he
guy from Robert Garcia gym.
right.
That was
Yeah.
that was impressive. They want him to fight. He Oscar De La Hoya calling out Rolando Romero for that fight. That's
Mm.
what he was doing. He was calling out Rolly. I'm telling Rolly, man, forget Oscar De La Hoya.
And what'd you think about Zurdo?
You know what? I think David Benavidez can move up another weight class or two and be Zurdo. I swear to God, man, I think that David Benavidez can be that guy in the future. He don't have to do that right now. I'm not saying he should be doing that now. But what I'm saying is Zurdo looked at kind of Zurdo didn't look as sharp as before. I don't know. Maybe it was because it was real competition.
Yeah.
It just didn't look as dominant as before. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yo,
I don't want to talk about the main event, bro. We shouldn't be giving them people clout, bro.
yo, but listen, 2 more rounds. I think he beats Jay Paul in a 12-round fight.
Man, you know what the people should do? They should file a lawsuit. Whoever paid, I didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
Whoever paid $60 for a pay-per-view, if you expected a boxing match, we should see this in court and find out, yo, what does the contract say?
Mm,
Because Cesar Chavez didn't throw a punch in the first 2 or 3 rounds.
yeah.
It just doesn't make sense, bro. Like, this is fraud and false advertising. And I wouldn't be surprised from a YouTuber who paid robots, who paid for views, or had fraud streaming to become famous, because that's what they do. I wouldn't be surprised. It's not just on YouTube. There's fraud streaming even on music. You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
So
I kept my words really like thing, but I basically said that you could count on this dude to take a bribe, bro, and just lose. Julio Cesar Chavez. I was thinking that. I was just like, these guys that he's fighting. I don't think that Jake Paul is he's not ready for the big time. You talk about a Dante Wilder fight or Zuldo Ramirez fight, and I just think that that's a lot of clout chasing just to keep the fans engaged in Jake Paul till he figures out what other freaking degenerate he could take out from somewhere. Look, I'm gonna fight a NASCAR racer now. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like a fucking
or at
astronaut.
least or at least till he continues signing fighters. That's the only good
I
part
mean,
of
yeah,
his company, right?
right,
The fact
right.
that he's
Yo,
signing fighters.
they're
But
signing a lot of fighters.
right, but what I would like, Turkey should step in. We as boxing fans should ask and demand for someone with that much money to buy out MVP, take the fighters, and just tell Jake Paul, you're fired. You're back for the sport. Seriously, that's what we should
Nah,
do.
nah, he's doing his thing. He got women with Amanda Serrano and them right now locked in with Netflix deals and shit. He's got a lot of fighters signed to him, so he's thinking long term. Okay, Jake
Yeah,
Paul. He's a
but
very
but
smart
Turkey, but
individual.
Turkey could buy the company out.
Yeah, but he's thinking long term because even when he leaves boxing and retires from boxing, he's still going to be a part of boxing. He's going to have mad fighters signed to his promotion. Amanda Serrano is doing her own thing, signing her own people too. It's going to be a lot. Like he's learned a lot about boxing, so that when his boxing career is over, he steps into the next phase in his life. Now he's just getting checks off fighters. You see, he's a very smart dude, man. Right?
Yeah, he started learning the business first, and then he got in the gym, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, but because he had that Nickelodeon shit and the YouTube stuff, and so he had like you know lawyers and people to think of all this stuff. But boxing is a sport that uh, you're gonna learn very quickly you can't play. So in order to pretend, what do? You act. He's an actor.
Yeah,
You're going
no,
in
and it's
there.
not, and I'm not just saying this for America, for him, because he's American. I don't like the fact that they do this in Puerto Rico either. I know that you're probably not aware, or you probably have heard, but there's these clowns, and they're pretty much clowns. They want to be comedians in Puerto Rico, like the one called Gallo el Producer,
Yeah,
and he be like trying to fight these other fake influencers and stuff.
right,
It's just,
right,
it's
right.
bad for the sport. And they say, oh no, we're helping the sport because the undercards are real boxers. I don't want to see that.
Well, look, I tell you what, right? Celebrities want to do the damnedest things, right? Like even in the Rocky movie, they showed you where Rocky himself, part in a scene in the movie that he fought Hulk Hogan, right? And it's just celebrities doing celebrity shit, right? And if you have a buzz in YouTube, the celebrities have become like you and I. You could be a YouTube sensation. Then all of a sudden you're starting to play around with these things. But I gotta give him credit because it takes balls to get in the ring. It really does. And if you go out there in front of thousands of people and your loved ones, your wife, your kids, everybody, and they're seeing you get your ass kicked, that it takes a lot to do that. So, as far as these gimme fights and Jake Paul situation, look, man, let me tell you something. He brought a lot of money to boxing. He brought a lot of money to boxing so far, right? And I think that he's good for the sport so far, but not for the competition of the sport. The way he dresses it up might turn off a lot of boxing fans because he's advertising himself as being like the best and that he claims he's going to go on a title run. I don't doubt any of that stuff, right? You're just not fighting any of our guys and you're pissing us off because you're not following a weight division. You're not like at 168, 175 and start fighting guys in the division. You know what I mean?
Some people
And
might be waking up to the bullshit though, because apparently the Ring reported yesterday that at the Anaheim Honda Center,
yeah,
they lowered the tickets up to 70%. There was tickets even for $10
yep.
just so they can break a record.
Well, the thing is this, right? Jake Paul wasn't gonna get that. We all knew that fight wasn't gonna sell anyway because he didn't even get it on Netflix. Where Netflix wasn't fucking with him with that fight. So you already knew there. Jake Paul's like this with Netflix, bro. And he couldn't even get it on there. So that we already knew this fight wasn't gonna move the needle like that, and it wasn't surprising to hear that the tickets, some of them got lowered down to $10 just to pack the house. They probably went out on the street and handed them out just to fill the building up. But and then and on that scanner that every ticket scanned, you're gonna beef up the numbers or whatever, right? But still, nevertheless, he does what he does. He did bring us the Floyd Schofield fight, didn't he? You know, and at least it was exciting, and we saw Griffin fight and Zurdo, so he does put on some fights, so we have something to watch. Okay, whatever takes place in his fight, have at it. But Mr. Miyagi, you still with us?
Yeah,
Yeah, listen, tell me how'd you take in the festivities?
I think Jake Paul is a symptom of the times we're in now with
Yeah.
the younger generation, or should I say the casual fans of boxing.
Hmm.
It's all about the 30-second reels, isn't it?
Right.
The stuff like that. So when you get gimme fights like Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, you get the eyes of everyone, and
Hmm.
the whole idea of it. I think again, boxing. See, I'm somewhat of a purist, but I'm not. I'm not closed minded to give
Right.
me fights to sell the event as long as you got actual boxing on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as you've got the actual professionals that you want to see, as uh, the avid boxing fans on the undercard. See, I'll still watch, like, Jake Paul fighting, because even though he's not going to be a world beater, I'm still intrigued to see his progression, because he is
Right.
fighting. He is in the ring, and for all we can say about um, Chavez Jr., his uh, the way he was fighting. Can you just imagine if he fought the way he usually did, and he get knocked out in the first 3 rounds by Jake Paul? Because that man can punch.
Yeah.
Because you see, he just kept hitting Chavez Jr. in the ribs, full pelt, and every time he hit him, it was just like he just had to take another breath on that left hand side.
Mm.
But I wasn't happy with the Zurdo fight, to be honest.
No.
That man needs to sit down on his punches when he's in there,
Mm.
because I noticed that he'll throw one hard shot, and then he
Eat
reminds
that.
me, yeah, he reminds me of, who's the fighter? Zapata,
Cepeda.
the way he fights, because Zapata will he'll kind of throw a little, just a pity pat shot first, and then launch a heavy punch afterwards. But then everything after that is just like arm punches.
Mm.
And I felt there's so many rounds as I was watching that Zurdo fight. I was just looking at it. I'm thinking, why are you not? Are you actually going to turn your body into it, or are you just going to flick your arm out to hit him? Because he had a nice jab going
Right.
against I forget the guy's name. Is it Dortigos? I can't really pronounce his name. I can't remember how they were saying it. But he was flicking the jab out there really nicely, but it just didn't seem like he was turning his shots when he was hitting him clean.
The Cuban guy, right?
Yeah, I I feel like he wasn't training properly for this fight,
Yeah. You
because
think he took
I
him
felt like,
lightly?
yeah, because
Yeah.
it looked like he started gassing, because his corner was saying, "Oh, trust in your conditioning." I'm thinking,
Right.
ain't you supposed to be the volume puncher?
Mm-hmm.
Like when he was fighting Chris Billum-Smith, they were going 12 rounds just throwing,
Right. Right.
and he was fine. He beat Chris Billum-Smith up at his own game.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs to stay consistent. If Oscar De La Hoya wants Zurdo to become undisputed at cruiserweight, that man really needs to stay locked in for all of his fights. I don't care who he's fighting,
Right.
because if he can't be gassing against a
A top.
monstrous puncher like
Right.
Opetaya. But no, the card was good. I quite enjoyed all of it. I didn't watch any of the prelim fights, if any were.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't caught up to any of that yet.
Yeah.
Um,
I I
but
I
no,
I got to catch, and what I did get to that I remember before the liquor started kicking in last night, right, and everything just started spinning. I was like, I saw Holly Holmes fighting the girl. The
oh yeah,
girl, she fought Yolanda Vega there, and I was like, look at 42-year-old Holly Holmes ass in the ring and shit. Like, I remember when she shocked the world and kicked Ronda Rousey's head off her shoulders. It was like a crazy moment in sports. And now I see her boxing and stuff. I'm like, well, kudos to you for reinventing yourself at the young age of 42, coming back to boxing. Manny Pacquiao's getting it in there right now. So, you know, um, I don't know. I don't know about that Manny Pacquiao fight, but we're about to find out. I guess we're gonna get it whether we want it or not.
but I like what the WBC president said on the Boxing Voice about it when they were asking him,
Hmm.
because when he was justifying it, because there's a lot of people that think Barrios can get beaten by Pacquiao. So that was essentially um, Suleiman's argument
Reasoning.
is saying,
Yeah,
yeah, because if you think he can beat the current WBC world champion, then why would we not rank him?
right.
And I get the argument because Manny Pacquiao's been out. Like I'm one of those people that name uh, doesn't give you a step over the people that have been putting the work in all the time.
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
understand the commercial side of it because he is. If people believe that he can beat the world champion, why would you not rank him highly when he is a name? He is commercially viable,
Hmm.
and you
You
know
see,
what? If he beats him, all it does is cement the WBC's idea. It's like, look, if you've been such a dominant, such a good champion for our organization for so
right,
long, even 2, 3, 4 years out, and you want to come back and have one more go at it, we'll
right,
give you the benefit of the doubt because we've now been proved right with this fight.
hmm,
So it'll
yeah.
be
So, and
interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
the thing is that the WBC. You know how much money Manny Pacquiao brought the WBC organization throughout the years. You know that you
I
you
don't
know
know,
you have
tens of millions.
a good a healthy relationship with them. And there's been other fighters that could have made a phone call to Uncle Bob Arum. Look at George Foreman when he came back. That man didn't ask for a handout right away or anything like that. He had like 10 fights or whatever and worked his way back up to that title fight. Okay, he loses to Evander Holyfield, right? Okay. So he takes off like a year, and then Michael Moore became world champion, and then he calls him and tells him, Bob, and Bob said, "What? Don't tell me you want to fight Michael Moore." And he said, "More than anything." And then he called in a favor. That's where we felt that George really didn't. To a lot of people, he had over a year out of boxing again, and all of a sudden he gets a title fight. But just like Manny Pacquiao, there's two sides to the quarter. They have done a lot for the sport. They've contributed. They got a lot of connections. They've made a lot of people a lot of money, and their name also carries weight. So they're an established multiple division world champion. Usually, look at Manny Pacquiao. What has he got? 8. So it's like the what he's done by itself would award him it. But ask the guy that's number 1 in line, number 2 in line, number 3 in line, number 4 in line. If they feel like Manny Pacquiao should just jump all over us, hey, yeah, fuck our careers. Manny Pacquiao, get yours, baby.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing with Jake Paul though. So what we gonna do? Like we got a whole bunch of fighters. All right, say for instance, like this is the best example right here.
Well, Mr. Miyagi said it. It's the times we live in.
Yeah, yeah, but we as the people we need to draw a line. That's the problem. We can't be letting these weirdos just do whatever they want and then have all these young people think that, oh, this guy's a big star because he can fight. No, that doesn't work that way. Like somebody just said, Opataya, I don't know how to pronounce the last
Jaya
name.
Pataya.
Opataya. That guy will beat the bricks off Zurdo right now. So
Well,
yeah,
well,
so
that version, well, that version of Zurdo that showed up last night. Okay, yeah, I saw the Chicho, the love handles on his side. I did think he was, and he always doesn't have a great physique or anything, but he was a little off. And like Mr. Miyagi said, I think he underestimated this Cuban dude, bro. Whatever his name is, D'Artagnan, D'Artagnan,
Dorticos.
Delticos. Yeah, I think he underestimated it a little bit. So I think it was a little bit of both. He was getting that fight that he just wanted to get on the Jake Paul card, get a paycheck, bro. And hello, wham bam,
I
thank you,
wanted
ma'am.
I wanted the
But
fight to go. I wanted the fight to look like Fury versus Wilder, man, and it never
mm,
looked like that.
mm, yeah, well, I hey, everybody can have a difference of opinion on a lot of these in these fights, but one opinion was well, two of them, the Griffin situation and the Floyd Schofield. There was no need to go to the scorecard. In fact, there was no need to. Schofield came in that ring like he left the stove on. He said, "Hold up, I left the stove on. I gotta go." Poof. I gotta go turn off the stove. Like he was in a hurry. He's what? Yo, man. So that was good, but I respected the Griffin fight because it was a fight.
Yeah,
The
it was
way
even.
the way he got caught with that punch, bro, and he folded like that, and I was like, at first maybe I thought he was gonna get up, he was gonna beat the count, but then you saw it. He went forward. You saw he was out of it. He was just like boom, like that. So it was, good stoppage. You know, but it was entertaining because there was a fight. What I thought I was gonna saw with Floyd, but he pitched uh, a walk off home run. He hit a walk off. So
Uh,
yeah,
Edwin,
congratulations to him. Yeah.
did you I don't know if you already mentioned this earlier, but did you
What?
hear what the WBA president said about Jake Paul? If he
No.
wins this fight, they're going to rank him in top
Oh yeah,
15.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Wasn't that
earlier,
the
before the fight,
WBC?
no, the WBA president.
W president?
This
Oh
this is
yeah,
why this is why I'm actually fed up of the WBA organization,
yeah.
because not only because I don't want to go off topic, but all the shit that Inoue gets about the WBA, his mandatory
Yeah,
challenger,
right.
and then people say all this shit, and then everyone complains about how the WBA is just pulling out contenders that don't deserve to be there, and I'm just fed up. I'm fed up of that organization.
Listen, you, me, a whole bunch of us. If you ever want to get a fake cartoon champion, you go to the WBA. They're all clowns over there. Don't you see Rolly's a 3-time one? Don't you see Javante Davis? Where's his? Don't you see all most of them WBA dudes? You wonder how the hell they look at it. Um, Ryan and Rolly got placed on there. Where else? Who? Uh, what other there was one other situation I was just like, WBA, I'm just fed up with your shit, man. I can't remember exactly what it was. The Naoya Inoue was one of them too. They kept trying to tell everybody that this guy automatically became Naoya Inoue's mandatory to his title because of what? Because you have an interim belt that
And before
that you
everyone else.
yeah, that you fought for a vacated interim belt, that you fought a guy ranked number 88 in the world. The next guy you fought, Keith, he was ranked number 56 in the world when you fought him. You didn't beat anybody in the top 30, 40, 20, 10. And the WBA are shiesty because they're saying like Naoya Inoue had to honor their mandatory. Naoya was looking at him like, you guys are a fucking joke. Your fucking organization is a joke. And the way you're pushing this guy, that's why they lost in court. Because, their organization is a bunch of it's like a lot of smoking mirrors. The worst situation that I have with the WBA today is the fact that they want you to believe that there's two champions in every weight division wearing their belt at the same exact time. They can be two guys with two different styles of WBA world titles, and they want the history books to acknowledge both men as the champion in the same weight division. Meaning, when you got the Reggie belt, which what Rolly got, the Reggie belt, they want you to call Rolly a real champion, and then what they want you to do is say Jerron Boots Ennis is WBA champion, it becomes a super. So the Ennis will get now what they're saying is the super belt, and the Reggie is the guy that fights the mandatories. So you can have two world champions at the same time at 147, and they rightfully so. You want the organization to deem both of them real champions.
The WBA, you could have technically, you could have 4 belts. You could have a super champion, champion in recess, interim champion, and a
Interim
regular
champion,
champion.
and then the regular champion. And they're gonna want to give you look. That's why Box Rec up and decided not to acknowledge their organization or their belt in the boxing ranking. Box
I think
Rec had been around for years. It's a reliable source where you can go look up boxers' careers, just type their name in, any boxer. But now you can type in any WBA champion you want in the world. They're going to show you his name. They're not just going to show you any of his belts.
I think they doing that for money, man. You know how they gotta pay. You know how they pay for the belt, like the
Yeah.
fighters.
Yeah.
They gotta be doing that for money for sure, bro.
Well, listen, let me tell you something right now, right? Before they did that, boxing's been this way anyway. You have a WBC, right? Okay. Then you have a WBC gold. You have a WBC silver. You have a WBC intercontinental. You have the Latino WBC champion. You have the North Pacific WBC champion. You got it's like the North, West, South, all of them WBC champions. And WBC has probably the most belts out of all the belts in the world because they were the belt that went global. They went worldwide. It used to be boxing. You would have to come here to fight our champions. It was an American sport. Okay. And then the WBC went global, and they got all the WBC youth, all these belts. But what happens is when you're in like the top bracket of the WBC titles, like the silver, the gold, the intercontinental, I think.
Pretty soon, the influencer of the world.
Wait. Yeah, wait. No. All those belts, you got to pay sanctioning fees. The other ones, you don't.
For real?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
that's
don't. The other belts, the other ones underneath, you don't pay sanctioning fees for those. Those are just trophies that are shaped as belts that go around your waist. They could just make that into a trophy or a little medal and put it around your neck, but to give the fighter confidence and to let him see his work on his waist, there's no other feeling. So they decided to opt to make the trophies look exactly like their belt.
Edwin, if you want to get into a sanctioning body,
Yeah.
I'm not particularly familiar with this section of boxing, but have you got so say I'm fighting and I want to go up in the WBC rankings. You've got to initially pay, haven't you, to get ranked, or do they
Okay.
just rank you?
Okay. First of all, legitimately, there is a ranking in the WBC, right? We see it. There's the list of men. They got number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blah 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 blah. I know what I'm seeing. I know what I'm looking at. Right? There's a list right there, and all the men are on it. Respectfully, there is no ranking system in the WBC. Nowhere. Why? They have a board members, 32 board members. They look over every fighter, what division they're talking about, who they would like to see who fight who. I don't really think they give a two shits about the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. I think their criteria, it's like blatant. you as a fighter, you got to have a promotional company, you got to have somebody backing you, signed to a big one, and you got to be popular, you have to have social media followers and things like that, uh to meet the criteria to fight for their prestigious belt. Whoever puts that belt around their waist, that's the number one belt in boxing.
Who's that? Who? What organization again? WBC.
WBC. It's the most powerful organization in boxing. It does shit right in front of your face. You don't even notice it because you know why? Because you're so used to it. They've been doing it for so long. Gervonta Davis does not have a WBC world title. He's never owned the WBC world title. Okay. And on the night he was fighting, who was it there? Uh, uh,
Santa Cruz.
no. He was fighting Martin, right? On the night he was fighting Martin, didn't the WBC come in there with a freedom belt? WBC freedom, they tricked it out like they do Saul Canelo Alvarez fights, and they came and awarded Gervonta Davis with the belt. Gervonta Davis doesn't fight for the WBC. Why are you stepping on the toes of the WBA? We're supposed to be showing our belt that he does pay sanctioning fees for. You know what the WBC does? When Saudi, he just did this. Suleiman, right? He goes and makes a undisputed title. What does the belt look like? The WBC's belt. It's just a big plaque with the WBC's name, and then all the other organizations, WBA, WBO, IBF, underneath them. So for the belt that they're going to be fighting for, that undisputed belt, who made it? The WBC. Yo, everybody's they're so powerful, bro. They be coming up with their own shit and get away with it. What the hell is a franchise world title? If only two men, actually three, but two major guys that we would know about had them. They invented the franchise world title for Vasily. They had him vacated. Devin Haney fought for the vacated title and won it, right? Then they made a franchise title for Saul Canelo Alvarez. But I don't know how they talked those kind of men into accepting that belt. And I don't think they told them the ins and outs or the rules of it. Because the minute they started explaining how you win that belt, bro, that franchise world title, the description from the president himself, you can go, he made a video about it. You can go check it out. Have him tell you the rules of that belt. It's basically a belt it's like if you play Grand Theft Auto and you put infinite health, infinite bullets, infinite life, infinite gas tank, infinite. Yo, the rules state you can't beat the champion and you can't win the belt off of him. Yeah, your smile disappeared. You cannot, if you beat this champion that has the franchise belt, he loses it, but you don't win it. You don't get credit for fighting for it, and he can defend it.
They want to give it to the next popular guy.
Dude, it was a cheat code belt. The WBC they are nasty when it comes to this shit. But the men and women that held their belts, they look. What do you see? What do you? I mean, that's just greatness. And what is he holding? What did he always have? You know what I'm saying? Just the champions that had that belt is what really made that belt like, everybody wanted that green belt. And it's just the most popular belt in all the sports. You look at boxing, most of the people, even the casuals, they'll describe the green belt to you. You know, so uh
Did you see the other fights, or you only saw that one? Like
no,
the
I
Billy?
ended up watching them all this morning. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
but what you think about M Billy?
Um, look, impressive. Uh, and look, I don't know what to think about that fight. It was too short for one, right?
Yeah, the fight itself. But do you think that he needs to like basically at 168 fight the big names now? Like,
Yeah, of course, of course, of course. Because, I questioned that uppercut. I mean, it could have been like a vicious one, right? But I just feel like, you know, do the people think that after he fights Terrence Crawford, Saul Canelo Alvarez, that he would fight in Billy, or that they would want that fight?
I would rather have M Billy fight Pacheco.
Ah, well,
That
okay.
would be first, and then try to get a Canelo. If you know what I mean, just
Yeah.
because Pacheco's gonna give you more than one round.
Yeah, we don't know, man. I don't know about that one. Shitty. Mm,
I still got M Billy winning by knockout though. If that happens though,
How old's Pacheco?
how
against
old?
Diego Pacheco, yeah.
How
And
old
Billy
is
has
he?
the speed.
Yeah, how old?
And Billy has the speed and
Hold
power.
on. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me just put these to the side. All right. All right. I'm gonna get that for you right now. Bing, bing. Mm, 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 mm. Uh, okay. That's more like it. He is 24 years old.
So he's still got room to put on more muscle
Yeah.
and get
And he's
stronger.
6'4". He has a 79-inch arm reach. He's orthodox boxer, and he right now they have him at a 78% knockout ratio. He's gone 104 rounds. In that division, 1,782 registered fighters worldwide. They say he's number 7, and for the Americans, there's 274 ranked. I mean registered American fighters. He in that weight division, he's number 2. So that's what BoxRec has him, and they got him down as a 5-star um uh ranking. You know how when BoxRec gives you a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5 stars to the fighters, he has a 5-star ranking. So he's
Who
23
Pacheco?
and 18, no losses.
Pacheco, his last fight was Nelson, wasn't it?
Steven Nelson.
Yeah. Oh, that's a weird him, Pacheco and Billy.
Hmm.
That's I see. Pacheco's got a lovely right straight on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like him and his jab as well is just razor sharp. But I could see in Billy just forcing his way past it after a couple of rounds,
Right.
and then just that volume and aggression that he has. That would be an really interesting fight. But I can't see. Is Top Rank really putting any money behind him, Billy? Do you know what I
I
mean?
don't.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, he got the WBC interim now, so uh, and Billy to Saul Canelo Alvarez's WBC title, and then Jose is the interim to the WBA, right? Okay, and then Canelo got all the real belts. So, you know, maybe Berlanga could fight in Billy.
hmm,
Edgar Berlanga versus and Billy. And Billy's a big puncher. Edgar Berlanga's a big puncher. Uh, they're both in the same division. They just mysteriously put, well, not. I mean, Jamel Charlo's number 2 for the WBC and the WBA, right? So, off the performance with off of cornflakes there, I don't know how they got you number 2 across the board, like, but hey,
Yo, with these nicknames and everything that's happening in boxing, it's almost like they wrote the story during the COVID times.
shit.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then Jaime Munguia is in the shit can right now, testing positive and everything.
Hey,
His
do you know
second,
what,
the B sample came back positive.
Edwin? Do you know
Yeah.
what? I actually think I think and I said this on a few lives ago about the French guy Bruno.
Yep.
I think that guy is a problem,
Yeah.
honestly, because before, um, do you know, like we were saying about people's records, and you look
Mm-hmm.
at the records, and then you
And it
see the
doesn't.
guys that they fight, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, these are just journeymen and that. But what are journeymen good at? They're good at surviving. And then when he hit Munguia with that shot
Mm-hmm.
and just flatlined him, a guy that apparently has no power at all. And then I saw the rematch, and I was saying that guy Bruno's got heavy hands. You could just hear it the way he was hitting him. Like Munguia
Mm-hmm.
did not want to get hit by anything in that fight.
Right.
And then obviously he just outworked him, and then it comes back that Munguia was popped. I would actually really like to see Bruno Saras in there with a proper name
Yeah.
in that top 168,
Right.
because I'm really intrigued to see. Everyone just writes him off as like the unknown European guy from France,
Yeah.
but he is a good counter puncher and he's got heavy hands. For a guy that everyone thought Munguia has got a chin on him before he got knocked out by this guy, and it was just one punch landed clean, and that was it. He was out.
You
So
know.
I'd be intrigued. I'd be
Mm-hmm.
intrigued. Throw in Billy in there with Bruno.
There you
Why
go.
not?
There
Because
you go.
you've got the come forward volume punching in
Right.
Billy, and you've got the
Right.
counter punching Bruno in there. I'd like to see how that mixes up, because that fight will show you if Bruno catches in Billy and flatlines him,
Mm-hmm.
then you have a real, you know, that it would just completely solidify what I think about his record, because I really can't, because you don't know all those fighters that Bruno was fighting before. They may I don't know if any of them have been stopped or anything. I haven't looked in, but you know how, like you always say, there's those tough men in every division that they just
Right.
put. They're not really great fighters, but
Right.
they're just tough.
Right.
Most of his career, he's probably just been fighting those sorts of people.
Right.
And then he comes into the division where guys are more skilled in the topper echelon. And you know what? A guy that you would have thought definitely would have won that first fight, and he just gets one punch. That's it.
Right.
With a record like that, it just is crazy. But yeah, that's a fight I think in Billy could go next. Because Bruno's got a bit of a name now after that, because I think his record, he's still undefeated now, isn't he?
Yeah. 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 You're talking about in Billy, right? Undefeated. He's 29 and 24. 29 fights
No.
to 24. Oh, who?
I mean, Bruno, his record, that loss to Munguia got pulled, didn't it? Because of the samples.
Oh, I guess
They're
it
gonna
does,
fight it.
right?
They're gonna fight it. Yeah, they're gonna fight it. I don't think it has been done yet, but at some point they're gonna try to reverse it for sure for non-contest.
I don't
Yeah, no
understand.
contest.
Where can you get artificial testosterone accidentally in your diet?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
get where that comes in.
Well, because on the menu it said steroid free beef or steroid beef, and he must have picked the one with the beef with the steroids in it. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, because remember, Saul ate tainted meat too.
Yeah,
So
but his
he ordered from the same menu. You know,
it,
he was like, "Did you say the steroid steak?" No, I didn't want the steroid steak.
oh, wait.
Sirloin.
Yeah, sirloin. No, oh, we thought you said steroid. Oh, I'm sorry, so sorry. You know, listen, look at. So I was hearing these guys talk, and they were talking about Canelo Alvarez reaching out to Victor Content there and asking him to help him with this match coming in with Terrence Crawford, right? And Victor Content reportedly, I guess, allegedly, turned it down. And he said, nah, um, Saul, if because he just saw Jaime Munguia pop, and he said to himself, if Saul pops, they're gonna blame me. And even though I didn't give Saul anything out of the thing, whatever you're giving him, or whatever you guys have been doing, your system, if he pops because he called me in to work on his team, Victor Content was like, I don't want no part of that. And when you got like one of the biggest cheats, like you got him saying, yo, I don't want to cheat no more, man. Yo, I'm out. I'm out. Like it's like he whatever anything goes wrong, Victor was gonna be the fall guy. And I guess Victor saw what was going on and shit, and he felt some other kind of way, and he was like, "Nah, I'll pass on that one." Cause what's this? This is the sixth fighter that got popped over there in Reynoso's side of the world there in his camp, right?
After Valdez, I stopped taking count.
Yeah, this is six. I mean, look, how 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 many times do you someone got to do something to you before you be like, okay, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? Like 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 your TV's gone. Yo, I think you're smoking crack. Yo, the entire apartment's gone now. You might have a crack problem. Then you see him outside, and like what does the person got to do for that person to say, wait a minute, I think you're a crackhead. You know what I mean? Like 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 come on, man. Like if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck, bro. Uh you guys are just this is just too much,
Well,
you know.
who who does their strength and conditioning and their nutrition? Because I bet they're like, do you know what? We should. They're just feeding all their fighters a slice of Belgian blue ball. You know the
Yeah.
massive muscular cows. Them things. A slice of them is like this is good.
Yeah.
Oh my god. No, but
I-
honestly, like, who is their nutritionist? Because surely I know fighters, they could consume stuff,
all right. Yeah.
under the nutritionist's nose. But generally, when you get stuff like this, if you've got all these fighters in camp, I'd be interested. Are they all having the same nutritionist and that? Because that would be interesting to know. Because we've got a
Oh yeah.
guy
Right.
in the
Right. Right.
UK. Funny enough, was actually one of Tyson Fury's nutritionists. I can't.
Hmm.
It's something Khan. His name was, but he was actually. I think he was banned in the UK or something, or he was reprimanded or something for for giving his fighters
Hmm.
steroids. And I think one of his fighters was his Irish lad. It will come. His name will come to me, but he's just got basically banned for life for
Yeah.
proper anabolic steroids. 122 pounder. The
Wow.
name will come to me, but I
Man,
can't remember off the top of my head now.
there's there's been so many different cases of that, like steroids and stuff, and performance enhancement drugs and everything. But to keep to be honest, right? Um, there's 24 hours lasting stuff, right? Like, for instance, I can take a PE at 9 in the morning, right? go to the gym, work out for 4 or 5 hours, whatever. Uh, do two back and forth, like a morning one and a noontime one, right? And then by nighttime, by 7:30, 8 o'clock, I gotta take that other injection, right? At the back end of that. Because by the time I wake up in the morning, by 7 o'clock in the morning, I'll be clean. After 7 o'clock, if that guy knocks on my door at 8:30, yeah, I'll piss in the cup. No problem. So this stuff has been out there for quite some time. And then it's just not one. You can get it's really expensive, yes. Could everybody afford it? No. No. I think it's like 1,500 for the for one shot or whatever, and that's like a daily thing. I mean, not 1,500. Yeah, 1,500, 1,500. Um, so I don't know what the price is today, but there's guys that are capable of doing that every day. And like, you ever notice, like, you'll see this uh they shoot it in their ab. Sometimes they'll have like marks on their stomach when they're coming off. You'll still see the remnants of the marks when they shoot it into their stomach like that. Um, there are some shit out. You can get a PE for anything. You can get it for eye to eye coordination, bro. You can kill someone on that shit. His head must look this big to you. You'll never miss him. You can get one for stamina. You can get one to get big. You can get one to lose the water but keep your muscle. You can get a PE for anything, bro. You want to run fast? I got you. You want to jump higher? I got you. For anything. For anything. You could buy it for anything. Yeah, man. You just got to know enough about it, because it's not like I was ever educated to the point where, like, I could recommend something or do shit. I know nothing about what those. You ever hear those guys talk? Those steroid cheat motherfuckers. You ever hear them talk? No, I put 12 milligram of this, and you got to be a chemist. You got to the names on some of these bottles. I was like, that scares me by itself. I'm just like, if I ever, and then I never met ever like a guy in my neighborhood that sold steroids. You just never ran into no guy like that. So all I ever knew mostly about it was reading up on it, hearing some guys talk about some things, and just discussing it with other people like that. But as far as competition and it being around, like in locker rooms, and we've heard, and yeah, yeah. You can get some of these guys get busted on weird shit, and I'm just looking at them like from the outside in. Like Ryan Garcia, there was a lot better stuff a kid like you could have been taking. And with the people that were around you, they could have easily told you, yeah, here, Ryan, take this one. By 7 o'clock in the morning, you'll be good. So
I still don't understand that situation. How he can go 2 weeks before all of that clean on the testing, and then why?
play that out.
Stuff like that just baffles me. Like, why would you got 2 more weeks till the fight, and then you think, yeah, I'm going to take this because whatever he took is supposed to help you cut fat without losing, or cut weight without losing muscle.
Right.
But then I'm like, well, you get tested before and after the fight as well. It's
okay. You're Ryan Garcia. Now just talk out what you just explained. Meaning, he would have to have said, you know what? I'm not gonna make weight for my first world title fight. I'm gonna screw the belt. Fuck the belt. What are you gonna do, Ryan? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fucking cheat. I'm gonna take steroids, and I'm gonna get real beefy, and I'm gonna go out there and beat up. But won't you get caught, Ryan? Fuck it. I'm gonna, like, just play out the thought process that it would
But
have to have taken him to get so desperate that he says, "Fuck it, I'll get the win." Did he think that they weren't gonna give the win back? Did all that cheating for what? You didn't actually get the win. He's still undefeated, and you got banned and had to pay this money. Like, was Ryan that smart or was he that stupid?
He was that
just that
stupid.
stupid. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He was doing
Like,
all the drugs and alcohol, everything. Then he showed us on social media an IV test.
You're not supposed to do that
Yes.
close. Like, that was cheating right there, but blatantly. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, mm-mm. You know, I've heard some weird things in boxing. Like when Errol Spence Jr. said he got that shot in his rib in the locker room just before the Terrence Crawford fight. Then he's walking out into the fight, and did you see his eyes? That man looked high. He looked high as shit. You know when a person does drugs, uh, you know, their eyes get like glossy. They're like bing. Like you could see like the glossy look in his eye. And I bet you zoom in on his eyeballs. Let's see if his eyes are pinned or whatever. But I found that crazy to hear that. And then Errol himself talked about the situation. And he's like, I had a rib injury, blah, blah, blah. You know, with the car and everything, it was still affected. I don't know. But what did they shoot into your side? Liquid cement? What was it? Was it rubber? Because what's gonna help a broken rib? Nothing. Whenever you break your ribs or fracture it, you ever play football or get punched in the rib real good and go to what do? They put that H bandage around you, wrap you like a little mummy, and tell you to go home and lay down.
Yeah, did you see Oscar De La Hoya show the text message?
No.
He's just go check it out on social media.
All right.
Go ahead and continue.
And like I'm sitting there hearing this. Ryan Garcia's getting an IV. Errol Spence Jr. is getting a mysterious shot in his rib before the fight. What fucking medication on earth for ribs? They should put this in every hospital in America. You mean to tell me you can cure a rib shot with a what's it called? Where do you get that at? What the hell are you doing? I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, listen. There's a rule in boxing. A lot of fighters use it to cheat. They'll say there's a rehydration clause or something, or you must obey by these rules and you can't take any of your medication or your substance into, boom. But there's a deadline and a date. I remember Devin Haney pulled some shit like that off one time. It was something about water or some shit like that. Devin Haney did it was real sneaky shit. But technically, by the letter of the rule, he didn't have to submit anything until up to that day and that hour. That now he was contractually obligated. Now he had to stop. And there are loopholes in boxing. Did you guys know that if you don't got a fight scheduled, okay, say in the UFC or in boxing, right? And the boxer gets injured. So you take you're on the disabled list. During that time you're on the disabled list, you can take a PE. You could even take a steroid and you can notify them. Tell them what steroid you're taking, what PE you're taking, and you're good. But now when you come back, you got to be clean. You got to submit clean urine testing. I think it's like a 6-month window or something. then you go back on VADA or whatever. You can't enter combat sports until you got the 6 months without PEs in or steroids in your system. So they know you do this.
Hey, I have a question, Edwin. I don't
Yeah.
understand why they use the urine sample instead of a hair sample when so much money is put into the sport, and another one is a combat sport. So therefore, you put in your opponent's life in danger. You understand?
Yeah, but hair sample is the most expensive, but nothing beats blood. They take your blood out a tube out of your system right when you hit that locker room. You ever see the fighter
Yeah,
come out with a little gauze and some tape?
but the hair is the most
That's that
effective.
that's okay. The hair now you're impeding on like my life now. You know, the hair tells you way too much shit. You don't need to know. All I need you to know is that I pass for steroids and PEs. That my blood is good enough where you
Yeah,
can
but if
take.
you had it in your past, it's still in your system.
Okay, what does it give damn if the hair test tells you I took steroid 10 years ago? Why do you got to know
Wouldn't,
that?
but wouldn't the steroids that you took 10 years ago, wouldn't that have helped you even if you did have a career within the sport?
No,
Nah, you have to constantly keep taking. Have you ever
No, no,
seen
no, you're
people
not.
that
You're
come
not.
off of?
So you really have to continuously take steroids?
of
Yeah,
course. What drug do you know in the world you could take on Monday and it still be working in your body on Friday? You might be able to piss dirty, but if you were to snort cocaine on Monday, you will not be high off that same bump on Friday. Okay? It don't work that way. The drugs leave your body. Any drug in the world, you
have
know?
you, Edwin? You might have
Gotcha.
come across people like this. Have
Mm-hmm.
you ever been in a gym and there's, you see that guy that buffs up within like
Oh, of
two
course,
months,
of
and
course.
then you find out he was taking the juice, like stabbing the juice into himself, and then he stops taking it, and then he goes all weird. The body goes all like water weight almost and
Right,
flabby.
right,
Like
right.
I got a few mates that are on that when we used to
The
go to the
di-
gym, and
the
I see him and
difference,
he looks weird. He stopped
right,
taking it and he's still massive, but he's not cut or anything. He just
right,
looks big. It's just
right,
odd, but
right.
that's because he stopped taking it.
Well, check it out, right? The difference what I noticed in a gym was that the guys that had a foundation first that were working out 2, 3, 4 years, then all of a sudden somebody say, hey, you want to get bigger? Here, you can use this shit right here. But they already had a foundation, they get big, but when they shrink back down, they still keep a little something because you can still see what they were building. Now, the guy that just came in the game and just straight it cheating, like he was just like this and started lifting weights, but started right away taking steroids and got big as hell, right? Those are the worst falls. Those guys fall the hardest because it's like when the the clock strikes midnight, you're turning back into a pumpkin. And that's exactly what happens. They lose it all. Yeah, I've seen guys that were like jacked. 5, 6 years later, I see them again, and they just look bad. Like you can't tell he ever had one muscle in his life because technically he didn't. But guys that I saw that were already like buffed and had cuts a little, they were big, but they just wanted to get to that next level or something. When they lost it, at least they came back down to a certain size, a certain something. Like I saw like them dudes, they keep a little something. But if you had nothing or you were just a chubby dude and you lift, you're just gonna go back being a chubby dude. You're gonna go back to what you were. You understand?
Yeah, but it's still like an advantage to get bigger.
Well, an advantage, but to maintain it. Okay, like for instance, remember you guys heard that story about that dude? What was his name? The Liver King. That dude, he was all over social media. Older guy, ripped, had abs. and he was always saying, "Eat this meat, liver, or whatever, and roadkill, whatever he was," and that he works out in the, and that he's this old, and this was all natural, and how everybody did. Well, they hacked his computer, got all his shit, and then social media posted it. He was buying $11,000 worth of steroids and supplements a month to maintain that.
That's crazy. I
So
think I remember that story though.
yeah, so like, and then like social media dogged him, and like his channel fell, and all this stuff. Like it was all over the place. Everybody was talking about it, and his bill was $11,000 a month to maintain that So if you don't got $11,000 a month, bro, that you're gonna. And then if you're thinking about, okay, let me take steroids for a moment, a specific moment in time for this one fight. I win the fight. I stop taking the steroids. If if what you're thinking was that the steroids helped you to become the champion you are, and although you never took it again, without that steroid, you would have never been that successful.
Let's look at the theory. Do you think it's peer pressure? The person does it itself. Do you think the coach goes up to the fighter and says, "Hey, take this. We need to win this fight"? How do you see that, Edwin?
I think there's multiple ways it can happen. Of course, you mentioned a few. But I think that first it kind of starts off, hey man, everybody's cheating in boxing. Yeah, well, I'm a purist and I'm going to do it this way. Okay. Then you come across that fight where this guy never got tired. He got stronger as the fight went on. I might have won the fight, but I felt something different. You know why? Because they're using it and you're not. Then all of a sudden you get to that point where training gets a little difficult, a little hard, and you're not seeing any results. And maybe one day you say, well, let me try what everybody else is trying. See, and that's how you justify it in your head. You say to yourself, everybody else is doing it. Why don't I? You don't know everybody else is doing it. But the problem is, it's such a big window to cheat in boxing. There's there's not enough police in Gotham, and the people are running around doing what the fuck they want. And as a steroid testing, right? When you have a fight schedule, is when you're supposed to report to them and tell them your whereabouts, what time you're going to the gym, if you're leaving the country, any of this stuff. They tell you not to do these things. You don't know how. I listen. If I had $1 legit for how many fighters when they called them, where are you? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in Paris. I had a photo shoot. I had to go to Paris. Paris? Where the hell? Yeah, and so what hotel? No, 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 no. I'm in Paris on a yacht in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, right? Then these steroid people started getting hip. They started getting helicopters wanting to fly out to these places and shit. Yo, the sport game world is crazy. And it's just a big room to cheat. So maybe you convince yourself, or maybe a coach says, or maybe you get older and you're like, man, I can't move like I used to with these young kids. But if I took this shit right here, bro, I could beat Mario Barrio. I mean, yeah. I mean, if I was fighting, I'm saying me, right? So all of a sudden it's like when you saw um that trial with steroids with Victor Content unfold on the world with that Oakland's player Jose Canseco, and the dude from the Red Sox pitcher Roger Clemens.
So
He
what he
played
was guilty of, knowing
for
the
the
plug and not snitching.
No. Jose Canseco was a blatant snitch. He snitched on everybody. He said he
Damn.
was doing it. He was doing it. He was doing it. Canseco gave him a list of everybody. He threw Victor under the bus, everything. Jose went into a steroid rage thing and started crying and was like, I can't take it away. I'm telling. And he told on everybody. Now, Roger Clemens' name was one of the athletes that got brought up that was cheating. And while he was in court, because they took it to the fucking Senate, whatever, the highest courts, I don't know what, they were up there, right? And it was broadcast on TV. Roger Clemens is sitting up there in his suit, big as fuck, like this. He's Senator. I just got bigger, stronger, and faster the older I got. You know what I mean? Like that. Like the homeboy said it he said it best. Cat Williams, he said it the best like that. Because basically that's what he was telling them with stats. They're like, dude, you're sitting here looking like, and they're showing pictures of him when he was with Boston. And look, and mind you, he's older, like, so they took it to trial. Jose Canseco and all them dudes that were accused, and then there was that moron, the cyclist, the biggest cheater in the world. He actually pulled it off. Like he pulled it off for like years. He got away with it. This motherfucker's retired at home with all his gold medals, and he just decides to tell. God, I found God now, and I could no longer keep this secret. I cheated. Like what? And then the crazy thing is like he wanted recognition for being honest.
You know what he should do right now so he could go viral? He should go on a world tour, passing down the trophy and the award to the second place winner.
The second place winner admitted on social, and the third place winner, and every like ones, they were like, yeah, we were on the stuff too.
That's crazy.
You did this for nothing, dumbass. Like,
that's wild, man.
Like
I don't understand the cheating. I really don't.
Yo, man, like, some people say if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, and some people say that's bullshit. You're a fucking cheater. And that's not part of the game. That's you're just trying to give yourself a cool reason to cheat. No, you're a fucking cheater. All right. So it's who's viewing it, the cheater or the person getting cheated on. You understand? Who views it bad? This guy's cheating and he's winning. Yo, what was that? The Boston Marathon when that girl came out of the crowd back in the 80s, I think it was. She came out, she put water on herself. She was running, right? And she was acting like people were helping. Yo, she won. And then they on camera, they found out, wait a minute. She cheated. She came in from the side, and it was this whole big thing. And I think she caught a cab or a ride there or some shit. I forgot, it was a car dropped her off. Yo, it was crazy.
Hilarious. I think I've seen that shit on YouTube before.
Yo, that shit was crazy. Like, why would you put yourself through that? Did you really think you were gonna get away? Some people are just stupid, man. They don't really think things through. Like, oh, the helicopter can't see me. Motherfucker, that got a high-powered camera. They're watching the race. I don't know. She just thought she had like a record-breaking time too, by the way. They were like, this is incredible. This is the greatest athletic achievement I've ever seen in my life. She ran this thing in like 15 minutes. Listen. Yo, it was crazy. It was crazy. There's been some big cheats in moments in sports, but it's crazy when like you see it in baseball, right? The guy hits the grand slam and shit, right? But the umpire heard the shot. He heard the bat when it hit the ball. Pop! And the umpire was like, wait a minute. And all of a sudden, the dude's running around, and the Empire got the bat in his hand, and he's walking towards the dugout. Nowadays, they got like them X-ray machines. Now, remember when they used to cut the bat just to see if it was corked? They had no way of telling. And the bat makers, the guys that were corking them, they were good at what they did. So from the outside, you could, but and with the cork, it won't make the echo sound, so it's hard. There've been some guys, they cut their bat in half and it wasn't corked. And he's, bro, you just cut my favorite bat. Without that bat, I can't hit. You know how baseball players, they're real superstitious, right? But when it does and the bat shatters and you see the cork come out like out the bat, bro, that's fucking blatant cheating. Like, then all of a sudden your fucking 77 home run streak goes out the window or whatever. And if you get caught cheating one time in a sport like that, it tarnishes everything you've done.
Like,
But somehow Saul doesn't, and he just gets better. Somehow the big guys, they can take a steroid positive test once or twice and walk through it. And you don't even have to be all that big famous. Tell me honestly, guys, what did Gerald? What was his name? Gerald Miller, right?
yeah,
Wasn't he the one that was scheduled to fight AJ that failed 3 tests in a row?
Yep.
Has he ever got it in? Does he get shit over there? Because I don't hear it over here.
Oh, you go and watch Joe Stunner Boxing on his take on Gerald Miller.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, he does get some stick whenever his name gets brought up. They always mention that.
All
Because
right,
it's multiple times, and then he's constantly like pulling out of, like, people hate it where they're really looking forward to the Fabio Wardley Jarrell Miller fight, and then obviously he had to pull out for, like, whatever reason.
All right. I'm not sure if you ever heard me say this but I've shared it with a lot of people here, right? That I have an extensive knowledge of the way the tests are done, right? For drug tests, things like that. And it was because of my profession, okay? And where we worked at, right, we knew that this person was going to get tested for opioids or drugs or things like that, right? And the thing with the test is, right, those tests, when they send them to the lab out in Boston, and when the results come back in the 3 days, it's so accurate that it can tell you to the second you ingested the drug. Whatever drug you ingested, whether you injected it in your butt, steroids, whether you took it by mouth, pills, whether you snorted it, whatever way, it will tell you. So in our job description, we were not allowed to tell them that we knew this, to the person. What we would do is ask you and just let you tell us your lie. And we get a kick out of it. You know what I'm saying? I never did that. Oh, that was last week. Nope. It was Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. This, and this you did. It tells you to the second, and then what it breaks down to in your body. Afterwards, some opioids or things break down to morphine, and from morphine, it turns down to another. So it could be in your body 21 plus days. They'll get the remnants. That's how good that testing is when you send it out to Boston. So if you put a steroid in your body, I can tell you what time you took it. So what they're not telling this dumbass that keeps failing over and over again, and he's trying to lie to them and say, no, you just tested me last week, but I would still be dirty from the steroid, but I haven't. They're looking at him. They must be saying, no, dumbass, your levels are going up, not down. And then he tested again. That's why it makes it so funny. It makes it so funny because when they lie about what it was, where it was, you know what I'm saying? The only thing they can't prove is like if it was intentional. You know what I'm saying? Like intentional, like, okay. See, Ryan Garcia covered his tracks pretty good, right? If you say he shot it into his body, well, didn't you just watch him get it in an IV? We watched it in a video.
Right.
If he ingested it through his mouth, then what Victor Content said, what if you seen Ryan Garcia's entourage? All the kids that hang around with Ryan Garcia at the time, they don't got Ryan Garcia money. So after Ryan Garcia goes out to the club with them and comes back and takes the baddest girls with him to his room, the next day you turn into a pumpkin. You got to go back home to your normal life. It just happens that you know Ryan Garcia. So you catch one of those kids coming out of the hotel. Say, hey, kid, come here. Hey, didn't I see you last night in the club mixing it up with Ryan Garcia? Yeah. So where's your Porsche at? Oh, I don't have one. Oh, you don't got a condo here neither? No. Okay. All right. How would you like to make $100,000? How do I do that? Don't ask any questions. Just take this toothpaste and switch it with Ryan Garcia's toothpaste. It's all you got to do. Go upstairs, actually use the bathroom, change his toothpaste out, come back down. You're $100,000 richer. So if it was ingested through his mouth, we still couldn't prove, or somebody put something in his water bottle, you couldn't prove that it wasn't intentional. But the test will tell you exactly the way he did it. I'm not sure if Ryan Garcia knows this, but if he did, he covered his tracks pretty well. Because every avenue that it could have been, Ryan's up here doing all kinds of crazy shit. He's in a party, drinking, smoking. At any time, anybody in that party could have slipped something in his cup. It seemed like he played his things one by one for every possible scenario. If the drug said it was injected, Ryan Garcia, you don't shoot nothing. You had, this is not intentional. Oh yeah, you were sitting there taking an IV. It was like,
Well,
it was perfect. Bing, 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 bing.
he recently sent a text to Oscar De La Hoya, cursing him the fuck out and all that shit. But
they always do that, and then
Yeah.
they're on the love boat, and then they'll make up the love boat, and then they'll be back in good graces. Look, it doesn't matter, because Oscar De La Hoya does enough for himself.
So today,
making these videos and thongs, talking about, oh my God, bro, giving dudes motherfucking maceta shots. Yo, he's
today Turkey announced, or the ring announced, Haney versus Norman, that it's finally gonna happen.
Well, we've been talking about that on the Boxing Boys for a little while now too. Because Ness was following up the story, and Ness got the inside connect on both sides. Like, he's talking to the managers. Yeah, like directly to the source, and they trying to tell him that he's wrong. Like, I'm like, yo, like, what's your source? Why do you say that? You know what I'm saying? Like, people are crazy. So I knew that Ness knew something, and I knew that he was gonna make the announcement himself eventually, and that Turkey would eventually back it up, and he's gonna get credit for that, because Ness had a lot to do with that. That fight actually, like, because he put it in the air for Devin and Brian Norman. So, and that's I think if Devin steps up and fights Brian Norman Jr., that's a big ass challenge right there. But if Devin's claiming to be one of the best and the most skilled, apparently, according to him and his father, he's better than Floyd. So if I had to say, if I had Mayweather at Devin Haney's age, you give me Mayweather. Mayweather at that age, Yeah, I'd put him in with Brian Norman Jr. You know, I think Floyd would beat him, right?
The
But
only
yeah, go ahead.
the only thing that Devin Haney's missing is just a shame that he can't crack. If he could crack, then you might as well just have like Pretty Boy 2.0
Yeah,
because he's
because
got the good defensive
yeah,
skills, got the good footwork, got the super fast hands, and he's got the
right.
good timing, but just doesn't have the power that you need.
Yeah. Floyd had power. You know, it's just
Mm.
that he backed off on his powers because of his hands later in his career. You know, we all know the story. But Floyd was pretty boy, pretty boy Floyd, he was a knockout machine, bro. He was brutalizing these dudes, and then he's got his share of fucking these fights, but truly, 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 I know that he took those fights just to stay active because he couldn't get nobody in the ring with him. You know, he was at that time he was high risk, low reward. You know, and when Hernandez gave him his first world title shot at 130, uh, that was one of the best versions of Floyd I'd have ever seen. When he fought Hernandez on that night, that young kid, he was the first Olympian to fight for a world title out of their team. Out of all the Olympian guys that went, he was the for Floyd. Yeah, he did it like in 18 months or some shit like that from the time he left the Olympics and turned pro. He had already got it. And then he beat fucking Hernandez that never lost at 130. He was a fucking beast at that weight division. So, that was impressive. But anyway, guys, listen, fight fans, thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna go get something to eat. I'm gonna thank you, gentlemen, for stopping by. Mr. Miyagi, thank you for the super chats and boxing outcome. Thank you for stopping by,
Yes,
talking
sir.
boxing. It's always my pleasure to kick it with you guys. And yo, we got a lot of boxing to look forward to. We have a lot of boxing to look forward to. We have a some explosive July cards, women boxing, July 11th, and we have the New York big card, and we also have some cards in between those cards right there. So, fight fans, we have a lot to talk about. Boxing starting to look promising. We got some amazing knockouts, good stoppages, and let's see if we can get in the new. You know what I mean? Amanda Serrano. So, fight fans,
And
thank you guys.
Xander Zayas too.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah. He's more down the line. Yes. He's got a good. There's two good Dominican fighters fighting on his undercard. We'll talk all about that and more on the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. Y'all have a great night. Peace.